Hello and welcome to this another tutorial where we are going to be talking about the input, which are form input. So you can create another folder, and just as we did from the beginning of this tutorial, after creating that, you can come here and open the folder, or you drop and drag the folder inside this particular place. Then you create a file by creating on the by clicking on this file to create a new file. So yeah, I'm going to delete this. That was the one I used in the previous program. So today we are going to be talking about inputs, and the inputs that we are going to be talking about are these ones. And the inputs, what do we use them for? So when we say input are used to collect informations or data from the users, or from our clients. So the users are also refers to as clients. So those are the things we use in collecting information, and we have a lot of them. We have different types of them. We have the text, we have the password, email, hotel, which is for telephone number. We have the number, we have submit, date, time, month, URL, search, week, range, reset, and we have a lot of them that I just picked these ones out, which I'm going to be talking about. So now, you just have to understand them because we are not going to be using them to perform a real live function. So we are just going to know these and see what we can definitely use them for. And the when we get to project side, we are going to be using all of these to make a form and to make some amazing stuff like that. So now let's quickly move on and see how we can use all of this. So when you want to use input, you can just type input. So when you type input, this is going to pop up for you, and we have this type to be text. So this type is what we call an attribute, and you will see that our input is an example of inline element as well. So it is an inline element, so it's allow other input or whatsoever that are also inline element to stay on the same line with them. So if we are to put h1 under it, on you say hello, for example. So if you do this, it's going to stay on a separate line, and yeah, we need to run our server just as usual. I told you to download the live server. So click on this now, and it's going to open up, and you can see I have this, and the hello is under this despite our input being inline element, and that is because the h1 here is a block element, and it will not stay on the same line with our input. So now that is that about that. Now we have this input, which is also a self-closing tag because it doesn't have the closing tag, so we call it self-closing tag. So it is an inline element and also a self-closing tag. So now that is that about that. Let me move on. So we have this type to be text in case, definitely in some cases you want your users, you want to give them hints on what to do with that particular input. So we have something called placeholder. So this placeholder here is what you pass to your user, and when you pass this, you want to put something here. So for example, enter your name, or enter your first name. So when you put this now, the user will see it inside his own inside the website, that oh, this person is trying to make me enter my first name inside this place. So, and when you type, you can type, let's say, orange. So when you type now, you put orange, so that placeholder text disappear, and when there is nothing, it now comes back. So that is that about the placeholder. So this one is also an attribute. So we have value. So it's either you use the value or you use the placeholder to send. So but when you use value, and let's say you put first name for him, let's say first name. So let me get rid of this placeholder. So we use this placeholder most of the time. So if you put first name here and save, you will see you have to delete this first before you can type. But in placeholder, it's just a faded text that serves as an int, and it's not a text that per se. So when you the moment you start typing using the placeholder, the moment you start typing, the placeholder text disappear. But in value, when you use value, the value doesn't disappear. You have to delete what is there. So if we save now, you can see it comes back. So you can't type. Unlike that one, you have to delete this first. Then you start typing your name. So in this case, we prefer to use the placeholder instead. So the placeholder serves as that. We have a lot of other attributes in case he wants to use them. We have the value. We have an event called on change. When we get to React, we can do that. So we have one to call on focus. We have a lot of other functions that you can pass. We have another one called name. So this name is what we use in getting the value in case you want to submit it to the database and so on. So, and most of this input has all of these attributes. So, I'm just talking about this. The next one, when I'm moving to the next one, will probably I probably might more be talking about all these other ones again. So that's the reason why I just want to make everything clear before I move on. So input type of text, which is the first one. So this one, whenever you want to use it, you might want to collect the user information, the user information like the first name, the last name, the address, what's it called? You want them to enter their country, their states, their whatsoever, so you can use this text to perform that operation. Take note. That is what we use it for. Don't use it to collect the email or the password. It's not a good practice to do that. Though it's going to submit it, but it's not a good practice to do that. So there are other input that you can use to collect your phone number, password, email, and so on. So now we have the next one, which is for password. So all you just have to do is now type another input in here and said the type is going to be password this time around. So that is just what you have to do. You can pass the same placeholder to it and say this one is going to be enter password. So when you say enter password, so it also has have the name, it has the password also, it has the name, the value, and some other things which we are going to be talking about later on. So we have this type to the password. So when you put that, and you can see it's still on the same line because they are inline elements. So in here now, if you type orange or your password, you can see it give you this format. So that is how you can do this. So now, and if you want to get your confirm password, you still use the password, but different placeholder. You can just say enter confirm password or whatsoever and give this one any name to pick the confirm password to make probably to make comparison to compare the two whether they are the same before you allow the person to submit the password inside the database. So we have the email. So this is when you want to get the email. So you can just type the email. So the type is going to be email, and we can pass a placeholder to it and say the placeholder is going to be enter your email, for example. So when you do this now, anything the person will type is going to be of type of email. So if you don't put the @ sign, there will be a problem. So at gmail.com, when you want to submit, it will not allow you to submit. Yeah, that is that about the email. Also, we have the tel. So if you want to work with the tel, we have the tel. So you just type input, and you're going to type the type of tel. So let's say tel. This is what we're using getting the phone number. So you will not see the effect of this when you are using it through a website, because when you are using your PC to visit the website, so you will not see the difference. But when you use your phone, the moment you set the type to be tel, the dial pad that comes up is what we call the phone number, the phone password, the phone dial pad. That is the one that you can use in typing phone number and not any other text. So that is the one that pop up for you. So you can try that out and see how it works. But you can just say enter your telephone or mobile number, for example. So you can just put that mobile number here, so the person will know that, oh, what I'm supposed to put here is telephone number or mobile number. So that is, this one is more like an instruction on what to put or what to pass inside that uh, particular input. So we have number. So when you this number, you can use it when you want to collect anything that has to do with number alone and not telephone number. Please take note of that, and not telephone number. So if you want to work with telephone number, it's better to use this. So this number doesn't take any other text except numbers. So probably you want somebody to enter the amount or whatsoever. So you can use this number. You want to get a number, maybe the house number, without the what's it called, without text. So anything that has to do with number without text, and it is not phone number, so you can use this number to get that. So you can just type placeholder. You can say house number, for example, house house number. So when you put house number, you can see somebody, you can even increase it from 0 to 1 and so on. This is to tell you that it's only for number. So if you press any alphabet, it will never work unless you press number. So those are what it takes as the input. Now we have another one called submit. So this is used in a form. When we get to form, you are going to understand this. So all these inputs are going to be inside form, but we've not talked about form. That's the reason why I have not talked about that. So I'm still talking about inline element. That's the reason why you see me talking about this input. So we have this one to be submit. So this submit has value and not placeholder. So that is the text you want on the button. So this submit is a kind of button that is meant to be used on submitting a form. So when somebody log in, when somebody make a registration or search or any particular thing on the website, so you are clicking or you are pressing on this submit button. So that is what you are doing behind the scene. And let's say sign up or login. So if I put login here, the button should pop up and said login. You can see now this is a button. So it's a button that we use in submitting informations to the database. So just take note of that. We don't use this in any other places aside from submitting data to the database. So please take note of that. Don't misuse those uh, tags. So we have what we call the date or date and time. So this is when you want somebody to pick his date of birth. So you can use that. So we have what we call the date. I think date time. So when you put this date time, it doesn't take place order or value. So now when you click here, I think date. Let's try date. Date time doesn't work. Yeah, date. So you can pick the current date. You can see you can go back to any other year. If you want to go to any year, you can see we have 2027. We have some previous years and the years, the future years, your 2025, 2026, and so on there. So you can pick that in case you want to work with the month alone, so you can get the month. So just type month here. So when you type month here, let's see what we have here. You can see it asks us to pick the month, and you can see this month, you can pick last month, and you can see March 2024 showing you the date and so on. So you can pick the week. So you can just come down here and type input type of week. We have a lot of inputs here that you can work with, but I'm going to talk about very few of them. You can see now if you want to work with the week, you can find a way through it and use the week, and it's going to pick the week 16. You can see 2024. So that is how you can work with all those things: the date, the daytime, the months. Now we have the URL. So this one is using getting the URL. So you can just type, it's going to be URL. So please, you can just tell the person in the way you want the person to enter his URL using the placeholder https colon slash slash. So you can just give the person hint on what to enter. So if the person did not enter URL, there will be the data will not be able to submit to the database. So we have the type of search we've talked about this week. We have range. So if you want to work with range, so we have the search. Yeah, let's talk about the search first. So you can just pass a placeholder and said enter uh, name to search. For example, the person wants to search for something, so you can see that the person will now be able to type and search whatever the person wants to search for. So that is that about the search. We have some other ones again. We have what we call the range. So this range is what you know before. Is we use it in making range. So and let's see what we have when we use this. You can see you can set value. You can do whatsoever, move it on and off. We have a progress bar that can do the same work. So let's set the value. So you can set value for it. Let's say 40, and let's see what we have. Let's say 10. So you can set the value, and you can see these are ways you can set the value or find something that will set the value inside it. So that is how you can work with that and move it around. So that is how you can work with the range. Now moving on again, we are going to be talking. We have the reset, we have button type of button, but those ones are not that really necessary. We have input type of button. You can try all these things out, but I'm just going to be talking about the most important ones out of it. So in case you want to pick a file, a PDF file, you want to pick image, you want to pick video, so you can use that input type of file. So I can just come down here and say the input and the type is going to be file. So when I set it to file, you will see it's something we have seen before. So if you click here now, this opens up your file explorer to pick up a file to upload. So you can pick any file and upload the file, but nothing will happen now because we are not connecting our server side or connecting anything to it. API or whatsoever are not connected to it, so we can't do anything with the file yet. So that is how you can pick your file. So in case you don't want to pick a file, you want to limit it to image, so you can just use the input type of image. So you can just say image. We have the input type of image as well that you can use to perform that operation. Mind you, do not go out of the body. So let me get the body right there. So now if I save now, you can see you can just yeah, what is happening? Input type of image. Yeah, okay. You I think this one is working differently. You can pick your image. You're supposed to be able to pick image. Oh, sorry, I don't remember the way I used it the last time. So but this one you can pass the type of whatsoever you want to pick from it, if it is image or sorry, what's that? So I think accept. Yeah, it should be accept, and it's going to be image slash, or I think I've forgotten that. So you just have to pass the kind of whatsoever you want it to accept. So it's going to pick up image for you or whatsoever. Now we are going to talk more about that when we go for that. But this image, don't worry about that for now. Now we have the color. So if you want somebody to pick a color, you want to pick a color, just say input type of color. So we have the color. So if you see now, if you click here now, you can pick any color. You can move it around. You can do whatsoever you want, and it's going to work perfectly fine. So you can do that, but that's not what we are doing for now. Now the next thing which or the next one which we are going to talk about is the checkbox. So we have what we call the radio button and the checkbox. So they are both input also. So we have checkbox. So when you save and say checkbox, you can see this is what we refer to as checkbox. So now people misuse this with this, and we have radio. So these two, they have their functions, and they have, you can see this is, you can use this when you are dealing with multiple choice questions and you want somebody to pick one out of it. So this is the best to use. So whenever you are dealing with multiple choices, we want people to pick a lot of options. So it's better to use this checkbox. This is radio button. The second one is the radio button. This one is the checkbox. So or you want people to agree to the terms and condition of your website or mobile application, you can use this. So to this checkbox. So when they check this, it's going to give them access. So this one is used when you want to pick multiple choices, or in all those areas like I said that you probably want to pick the you want somebody to check the box to agree to the terms and condition and so on. So in multiple choices, or you want, anytime you want somebody to select a single option from multiple options, then you definitely want to go with this radio button. When you have a multiple questions and you want the person to choose only one, so you can use them interchangeably, which is not a good practice. So always use this to select. Probably you want the person to go for gender and you want the person to select whether male or female and not the two together. So you want to use this radio button to perform that operation. So that is that about that. You to put text inside them, so you can just come in here, let's say span, and you can say check. Oh, wow, I'm typing wrong. So now let's say check. So if you put check in front of this, you can see it as check. And now let's put span in front of this also. Remember, span is inline element. That's the reason why I am putting it in front of it. So I'm going to say span, and I'm going to say our radio on this one. So radio. So if I do radio here, you will see that it says radio. So now this one we check, you can check that. So now when we go further on how we can use this too, we and how we can style them, you will see how lovely those things are and what you can definitely do with them. So now moving on again, we are going to be talking about these text area, we are going to be talking about the select. So this text area, let's talk about the select first. This is when you want somebody to select from the list of options that you have. So list of options. So let's say you want somebody to select. Now, don't worry about this name and ID. When we go further, we talk about them. So we have something called option inside the select. So this option is what holds on our. Don't worry about this value also. This option is where we pass the list of informations that we have. So I'm going to say, for example, select your country, for example. So select your country. I'm going to duplicate this and said, okay, Nigeria, Ghana, and United States, and let's say what other state or other countries do we have again? Let's say Egypt. So yeah, so if you save now and check, you are going to have this drop down list to select from. You can see. So this is the help of the select tag. So with the help of the select tag, you are going to be able to do this. So that is the help of the select tag. So that is what the select tag does for us. You can use it to set your country, state, or you want to use it in gender or whatsoever that has a list more than one and you want your user to select from that list of options. So you can use this to perform that operation. Now we have the last one, which is the text area. So this text area is used in collecting a kind of paragraph text, probably short information about the about your user. You want to get this is it. You can see we can type inside this. It has placeholder. You can pass placeholder to it. So this is when you need your user to enter things about to talk about themselves, like write a paragraph text or whatsoever. You want the person to the user to enter his bio to probably have a long sentence or a long paragraph, a paragraph of info of text. So you can use this. So you can just say describe yourself, for example. So you can just say describe yourself. So in here, the user will be able to see, oh, I am to describe myself. So if the oh, is there anything? Why is it not showing up? I should have my describe yourself. Is there any problem why it's not showing? Text area, placeholder, describe yourself. Don't know what is happening here, but let's see. Supposed to show up. Yeah, so I don't know what is causing that and why everything. Okay, there is something inside it before you can see. We have to describe yourself. So describe yourself, though that is work of this one. When you start typing, you can see that goes away, and that is the work of the placeholder there. So now this is all I'm going to talk about the input. In the next tutorial, we are going to talk about another tag. So please like, subscribe, and see you in the next tutorial.